So, good afternoon, welcome. We've all had such a great privilege and good karma to have met the Dharma in our life, received some degree of teachings, and had the great opportunity to think about them and practice them. So how wonderful. So just like always, we're always reminded before any study, any contemplation, any practice, just reflecting on our motivation and really reconnecting with our heart of hearts, our joy and appreciation for this precious moment, so fleeting and yet so pure and beautiful, and really would connect with that joy, that devotion and appreciation for this precious moment and the arena that it's in. And then with that, just really truly expanding our bodhicitta, really spreading it out to all limitless beings, and really connecting with that wish, that this time together, this moment can truly be of vast benefit for infinite beings, infinite and every single one. And then too, just again, spreading that devotion, that joy that all beings realize the Pure Land and the true nature of their own mind, be free of all obscurations. And we'll just kind of just sit with that for a moment. And so it's always helpful to rely upon the beautiful frames that our lineage has for us, in which to kind of put together all the thoughts and ideas and inquiries the Buddha's given us, and also, again, then for our practice as well. And so we're here doing the Ngondro together, and we've been talking a little bit more the last few times about refuge and taking refuge. And I guess an important thing, reminding myself, reminding all of us, we're here together. I have the awkward place of being the spokesperson for all of us right now, but we've been really talking about refuge, and what is refuge? And basically, some of the things we've kind of went over, both Lama Dragpa, myself, and of course we've all heard and thought and contemplated refuge. It's nothing new. But again, from now until attaining the heart of enlightenment, we're taking refuge. That means it only gets deeper until we're fully purified of all of our obscurations and totally let go of all negativity and just allow ourselves to abide undistractedly and brilliantly in the true nature of total Buddhahood and absolute bodhicitta. Then that's the journey for all of us. And so always in the teachings, there's the framework of really, like they say, refuge is the gateway to all Buddhist practice. That means to say that it's stating the obvious, which is so beautiful with all the Buddhist teachings in a way. We need some interest and some trust in the Buddha and the teachings of the Buddha and in the Sangha, which means in ourselves, of course. So our faith or our devotion, our trust is what all the great masters are saying, that our faith, our trust, our devotion is the gateway to refuge. And again, like I was just saying, from now until the heart of enlightenment, we take refuge. That means it's not just a gateway we pass through and leave behind us. It's awakening into the vast land of our devotion and our pure perception that only increases through something we always hear Rinpoche state, through our joy, through our devotion, through our courage and our commitment. And so just remembering that, both in our formal practice and in our post-meditation, in the sanctity of our shrine room or out in the world, letting that all blend, letting that atmosphere pervade, working with our own mind. And so, again, maybe it's helpful to rely on some of these little landmarks or frames of like, well, what are the different degrees of faith or devotion? You know, they say what's first, like the most basic, in regard, again, here we're talking in regard to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. You know, the first degree is just our, what's called the vivid faith, or interested faith, interested devotion, which is, you know, and we all have these degrees of us, right? So that's the most basic thing. If we see a beautiful image of Guru Rinpoche, or the Buddha Shakyamuni, Tara, Yeshe Sojao, or we have the great opportunity to see a great master, or a really well-seasoned Sangha member, you know, or a beautiful temple, anything that brings out that inspiration and just that interest. And, you know, that, what is it, strikes a chord. When something, some image or manifestation of the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha strikes a chord in our heart that feels familiar. And keeping fresh with that, so that's important. And then the second degree is what's called like eager faith, eager devotion, longing devotion, which is when we actually want to know more. We actually are drawn to start to learn and start to seek out and to begin to practice. And that means we're also beginning to learn more about, well, what is the Dharma about? What are the four seals? What are the four noble truths? What is the Buddha? What is the Dharma? What is the Sangha? Who is Guru Rinpoche? What was the life of the Buddha? You know, all these things we actually feel the interest to learn more about. What is karma? Oh, what do we hear about in negative karma? What do you hear about the virtues of engaging in positive karma and taming our mind? Just increases our interest in our joyful effort and commitment. And that means we've actually begun to not just hold things up on a shelf or at a distance. We're beginning to mingle the Dharma with our mind. And by practice and having more experience, we're having maybe a little more direct understanding of the Dharma, and then more insight into the nature. And then that begins to become what's called like irreversible devotion or unshakable devotion, like really confident. And that's that confident devotion is maybe where our trust is just deep. And that's what we really want to be evoking and connecting with. Because again, with the Dharma means we're really seeing what's true. And both absolutely and relatively. And all the Buddhist teachings begin, right, even with just the emptiness of self. That's a big subject and a deep habit to uproot. But it's beautiful. The Buddha's smiling. So anyway, I guess what I'm getting at is these kind of motivations, or this kind of different degrees of our trust and our devotion, they may wax and wane, but keeping them with us is so important. And that's why, again, we're always connecting with our motivation and keeping aware of our habitual patterns. Are we shutting down? Are we leaning away from something that's a little uncomfortable? Are we forgetting the Dharma? Are we forgetting the Buddha? Are we forgetting the Sangha? Are we doubting ourselves? Keeping that mindfulness and that alertness and conscientious of keeping really the lamp of our heart alive and awake and radiating into our day and our perceptions. And then, of course, as we move towards the Dharma, again, towards the Buddha, towards the Sangha, like we've said, that means we're becoming more and more aware of what's unreliable, what's troublesome, and more about the causes of what's troublesome, and engaging more with what's helpful, what's reliable. And then even with that, we have different kinds of motivations. The most basic motivations are just ordinary, just our basic fear and hope, where maybe the Dharma can be like a lucky charm, or we see, we really see we're fearing the lower realms, existing in the hell realms, or the animals, or the pretas. We're seeing, we're looking towards, the higher realms, humans, asuras, the gods. But still, maybe that's just basic, real, kind of more common, but ordinary. Everyone wants happiness. No one wants to suffer, right? So feeling that motivation towards the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha just out of simple kind of fear of samsara and hoping for, better rebirth. And then the more we look at the Dharma, the more we kind of have a recognition of the law of cause and effect, of causes and conditions, the cause of samsara, the cause of nirvana, of cessation. Then the more we can actually, then it's not so much that we're looking for an outer experience, but we're realizing we really have an inner responsibility for our experience. So we're looking at karma. We have a glimmer at it, its effects, and we're going to work with that, and we have some trust in that. But yet, and we still maybe are fearful of results. But we want to have some, and should have, and through our practice, have a deeper trust in basic goodness. So I guess that's, as far as fears involved there, is recognize our own basic ignorance, the fear of our misperception and not knowing. So therefore, we want to know more, we want to study more, we want to contemplate more, we want to practice more. So even in regards to the Dharma, even if we just read a line of Dharma, really thinking of it and taking it to heart is Dharma, right? I'm kind of rambling a little bit here, but I hope it's helpful. Because what I'm talking about is really motivation and what actually makes our study, our practice helpful and going to move according to what we've heard our teachers say. But so really thinking about, contemplating, putting the Dharma to practice. Like there's two kinds of Dharma we're heard, right? There's scripture, there's all the words, all the sutras, all the tantras, all the words of the Buddhas and the great masters, things for us to actually look at. And then, but we need to contemplate it. We need to put it to practice. So the other kind of Dharma is our realization. So even if that one sentence, we could know a whole book by heart, which is great, but if we haven't thought about it or absorbed it into our heart, that's the difference. And like Rinpoche says so much, like that realization Dharma is meaning we're going to look at how much more peace do we have? How much more just natural joy do we have? Contentment. How much are we able to let go of our neurotic clingings and grasping to negative emotions and our limited world, We shouldn't be threatened by learning new things and opening our vistas. And that's why we practice peace. And of course, the other aspect of this is being aware of, is our motivation just for ourselves? Like we said earlier, everyone wants happiness, and that's natural. But again, in regards to our motivation, looking at, we're really trying to gauge in the motivation of course, benefiting ourselves, but benefiting others, really with bodhicitta, compassion, thinking of all beings. That's why, like as we're doing our refuge, we're including all the beings are there with us, and our mother and father of this life, without exception. That's like the highest way of taking refuge and motivation for the benefit of all beings. By actualizing all of our paramitas, may we truly be of benefit for all beings. And from now until attaining the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in the Lama, the three jewels. Sorry. The only difference, like we know, between a Buddha, an ordinary being like myself, is the degree to which we recognize our nature and we're free of obscurations. Like we all know, the Buddhas are completely free of all obscurations and in the fully awakened state. And sentient beings to different degrees have that the same beautiful nature, wisdom, love, compassion, but haven't recognized it in different degrees. When we've entered the path in all the noble Sangha, from ordinary beings to the Pratyeka Buddhas, to the Shravakas, all the Bodhisattvas, moving through all the ripenings of the Bhumis, to the fully enlightened Buddhas, every single one of them at some point had a teacher. And here our teacher is Guru Padmasambhava, embodiment of all the Buddhas of the 3 times. And again, and Guru Padmasambhava said so beautifully, and also Buddha Shakyamuni, devotion is so critical. Devotion, faith, it's what opens us to the whole beautiful realm of recognizing and realizing what the Dharma is all about. So I think I'm going to maybe stop there. But I saw just a beautiful thing to keep in mind, like as we're doing the refuge practice. Of course, we all have things, but just as in the way Guru Rinpoche is the embodiment of all the Buddhas of the 3 times. Knows all the teachings of all the Buddhas, is embodiment of all the Sanghas, is inseparable from our own precious teacher in this life. The mind of the Buddha is the ultimate refuge, the mind of the Lama, the realization of the Lama is the ultimate refuge. And our devotion to the blessings, our devotion opening to those blessings of realization and recognition to ripen our own heart is beautiful, precious relationship. You know, the Lamas recognized completely and unshakably the open vastness quality of mind and the inseparability of the vivid, brilliant clarity of the energy of mind. And it's all pervading compassion. That's the 3 kayas. There's nothing outside. And the Lama is there with us. Our devotion, opening to that recognition, applying the teachings to recognize the vastness of our own mind and emptiness of our own mind, clarity of our own mind, compassionate, pervading compassion of our experience. It's beautiful. And that's again the ultimate way of taking refuge. So Patra Rinpoche has that in the beautiful just praise to the Lama. Crowned with the 3 jewels of the outer refuge, You've realized the three roots, the inner refuge. You've actualized the three kayas, the ultimate refuge. Peerless teacher, to you I bow down. We let go, we trust, we open, and we stand with great bodhicitta, great joy, great devotion, and keep going. So let's keep going.